May the words of my mouth and the meditation of all our hearts be always acceptable to you, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Please be seated. Good morning. Beautiful, crisp fall morning this morning. It's lovely to be here, and I thank Stuart for the invitation. Thank you, Stuart. Hope nobody arrived an hour early for church. Well, I did, but I meant to. Transitioning from daylight savings time is a challenge sometimes. There was a woman at my former church that told me, I don't sleep a wink for a week after daylight savings time. I don't know if I believe that or not, but that's a rough one. And also today is special as we welcome into the Christian fold 2 new members as they are baptized, initiated into the life of the church. So given this wonderful task, baptizing babies, I will keep my words to a minimum this morning. I wonder if anybody remembers what a divan is. Oh, few hands, few hands. It was a couch or a sofa. And the gradual hymn that we just sang transported me back to my childhood at my grandmother's house when she would invite us to sit on the divan with her, my twin on one side and me on the other side and her in the middle. And I think she did that so we wouldn't fight. But she had a lovely soprano voice, and she was very faithful, cradle Episcopalian. And so she would sing songs to us. And one of the songs she would sing to us was this song about being a saint, the saints of God. So thank you for playing that for me this morning. We would listen as she sang the list of saints, the soldier, the queen, the doctor, the shepherdess, the priest, and the one that was slain by a fierce wild beast. And later in the song, as she memorized, she had no hymnal in front of her, she just knew every word. We heard that there's not any reason, no, not the least, why I shouldn't be one too. Now that's great theology, if you ask me, that there's no reason, none, not the least, why I shouldn't be a saint too. See, we humans are very capable of living a saintly life, a holy saintly life. Now, some Calvinist theologies kind of emphasize, Stuart's going to take care of this, perfect. Some Calvinist theologies emphasize this idea that we are worms, that we are sinful from our origins. And translated, that sort of means that we're broken or we're flawed from the start. And that all life is just trying to fight off the evil tendencies that we're born with. That's sort of the Calvinist theology. I think that's rather a dark existence. Now, this hymn emphasizes another great reason to be Episcopalians. See, we believe that humans aren't depraved and worms, as other theologies might suggest. Indeed, there's always hope. There's always hope and a possibility in each one of us because we're created in God's own image. We all have a divine spark within us. We're capable and actually prone to good and holy thoughts, words, and deeds. That there is deep goodness in us as human beings. And this goodness is a gift. It's a gift from God in our creation. It's a treasure that we receive. And it's a gift that Hallie and Orion have received. That today, as we initiate them into the life of the church, we celebrate and affirm that deep goodness within. Now, as you know, today is the Feast of All Saints. It's one of the 4 times in the church year that we typically baptize babies, or adults or kids. And it makes sense, right, that we do this, new Christians into the church on All Saints' Day, the day when we remember the saints of the church and the saints in our own lives, those we lift up as models for holy living. It's the day when we remind also ourselves of our own possibilities of saintly living. At my grandmother's funeral, her longtime Episcopal priest concluded his remarks by putting his hand on the coffin, and he said, "Well done, good and faithful servant, Saint Thelma." So the obvious question is, who are your saints? Who's a saint in your life? And what were their qualities that made them saintly to you, that you followed to emulate? And when I think of Saint Thelma, I think of her being so generous, so unconditionally loving, which is pretty hard with little ornery twins around, non-judgmental, really courageous, and authentic. And I could list more and more. Today marks the day when Hallie and Orion are marked as Christ's own forever. They begin to cut their spiritual teeth. They begin a journey living into the saintly qualities that God has gifted them in their creation. So I invite you on this Feast of All Saints to pause and reflect not only the saints in your life, but the impulse towards saintly life that you are given in your creation, that you are good in God's eyes, that your very essence, your very being is good and holy and saintly. Because there's not any reason, no, not the least, why you can't be a saint too. Amen.